Okay.
Why? What's my intro? Dan Muse got introduced. Dan Muse got introduced as head coach today. Let's collaborate together.
It's Crosby. Crosby on Kunitz and shot. Penguins win it!
Buckle up, baby. Are you kidding me?
We're a collective.
Hello and welcome to the Penguins Collective Podcast. My name is Louie.
My name is Josh.
And we usually go live after every single Penguins game. But today, we're talking about Dan Muse introduction press conference where they said collaboration at least 500 times. Josh, what did you think of the word collaborate and also Dan Muse in this the introduction press conference?
Yeah, definitely. Hot words were growth or grow, development, and collaboration was used.
A lot of buzzwords
all over the place. Yeah, they were the buzzwords for sure today.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked them. I texted you. It reminds me of a Boston Rocky Balboa.
Deeper voice
slurred.
than I thought.
Yeah, very much so. Was not expecting that. But just like I kind of like how he sat at the table. Like Dubas was very,
He kept on adjusting his wrist. Did you see that?
Yeah, it must be a new suit or new shirt. Something.
Or he was like checking out his watch. I'm like, I don't know if he didn't want to be there, but he was like doing this a lot.
I think it was something with his sleeves. Was it? I don't think he.
Or it was a nervous tick.
Yeah.
Because usually he's wearing glasses. He's not wearing glasses today.
I noticed that too.
So I was like, oh, new look for the Pahogum here. And then someone did. I don't know. I forget. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the journalist. But he said, hey, nice suit, Kyle. And then just immediately went into a question that had nothing to do with Kyle Dubas. And even Kyle Dubas was like, okay, like, thanks for that. But maybe that was more of a like, okay, how does he know I'm self-conscious about this suit right now? I don't know. He's reading my brain. But yeah, he was very like fidgety. He was fidgety up there.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he was just nervous, but he's done this a bunch of times. But yeah.
Well,
I don't know how do we.
But he's done it. But Dubas was sitting up tight in his suit, and Dan was kind of just like leaning on the table. Tie was a little bit loose. Like I liked it. Like it was kind of like, okay, I'm wearing a suit because I have to wear a suit. But this is I'm here to talk hockey. Like let's just do it.
Like you said, we were texting back and forth. Also, what I really like is how personable and kind of relaxed he was, like you were kind of mentioning. Yeah. We were kind of expecting he would be uptight. He would be this, hey, I'm the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, got to act right, got to be right. And it just felt he was very personable. He was very kind. He was very, direct. Yeah, very thorough, direct. Yes. He wouldn't not answer a question. We're kind of used to kind of beating around the bush recently with the head coach, Kyle Dubas. A lot of beating around the bush, not really direct answers. But with Dan Muse today, we got some direct answers, which was very nice. Even some softball weird questions like you've never made pro hockey. And he was just like, I wouldn't change my path. That's who made me me. And if that wasn't, he even made self-deprecating humor, which is very, very nice to see. It means he's, he doesn't take himself too seriously, which is very nice. He basically just joked saying that I was a sucky college hockey player, but that helped get me to where I need to be today. So he said he wouldn't have changed it, which is very nice. Also very nice to see that he's a family man. He gave a lot of props, to his wife, to his kids, and that's nice to see. But I like him. I didn't think I was going to. First of all, his voice doesn't match his face. do you know what I'm saying? There are people when you look at and you just think their voices are high, their voices are annoying. You probably think that about me right now, but I think that when he opened up his mouth, I was like, wow, its voice very similar to a Boston Rocky. It almost sounds like he's trying to do a Mike Sullivan impression as well. There were certain points throughout his speech. It's that Boston, but it was very deep. So it was just like, yeah, we're going to develop. And I was like, whoa, hey, my bass can only handle so much, so calm it down there, Dan. Thought it was good. I really like him. Josh, was there any questions that you heard him answer, or were there any quotes that you wanted to talk about that kind of gave us a sense of direction on where the Penguins would go this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, there were a few questions that were, geared towards how he wants to play, what is his coaching philosophy. One question was specifically about the defense. I felt like he handled all those questions really well by kind of they were kind of, skirting the question, but kind of essentially saying, I'm just getting in here. We're going to get to a point where the players are going to get in here. We don't even have a full team yet of who is going to be here come training camp. And then he's like, day one is the day one of training camp, and we'll go from there. So he didn't allude to too much in terms of, like he even said, like, if you really want me to get into, neutral zone defensive breakdowns, he goes, I can, but like, we're just we're not at that point. I felt like that he was, I don't know how to say this, like, properly prepared. Like, I was like expecting, because this is his first NHL head coaching job, that he would be not rattled, but just like, I don't know, like, for instance, okay, I know this is a hockey podcast, but everyone bashed Nick Sirianni of the Philadelphia Eagles during his opening press conference, several years ago. And everyone's like, this guy is going to flop. Like, this was his first coaching experience. That was his first press conference. And he just did not handle it very well. I was kind of expecting that from Dan. Like, honestly.
A little inexperience, or just the lacking of awareness?
Just the inexperience, not knowing, like, I don't know, just unaware of what kind of presence you need to bring to a press conference like that. And it looked like he was a multiple year head coach in this league. Granted, I know he was a head coach at the development team at U.S. Hockey. He was a head coach at USHL. Like, I get it. He has those experiences. I'm just saying, in terms of NHL, it's different. It's different. Yeah. It's heavier. It's more responsibility. It's a pressure. Like a big. Yeah, I was going to say more pressure. All of that. So the way he conducted himself was really nice. I'm trying to think of the specific quotes. He did talk about his philosophy as being relationship driven. Yes. And not only through the players, but also with the coaches, and the coaches with the players. So I thought that was really good, because then that alluded to him at a later question talking about how the day after he got this job, he did pick up the phone and call the veterans of this team and mention by name Sidney Crosby and Chris Letang. And that he has contacted he said at least 95% of the players who are under contract. So that's great. That means that within this last week and a half, not even week and a half, just about a week, that he has literally contacted almost everyone on the roster. And that sounds like it's probably a majority of the, young guys that we talk about, like in terms of like Rucker, in Ponomarev just went over to back to KHL, but
we lost Ponomarev. Koivunen.
Oh my gosh, Koivunen. Thank you. Sorry, Vasily Koivunen, who those are the guys we're expecting to make a push to be full-time NHL players this year. So for him to contact those guys, I think is huge. I love hearing that. I love hearing that he wants us to be a little bit more defensive minded. Felt that, there wasn't enough of an emphasis on that last year. And I agree. That was
one of his quotes.
Yep, go ahead.
Was with, the question that there is going to be a period of transition. But his approach is going to be working throughout the entire summer. And he believes that we'll have to work on both sides of the puck. And he was very adamant that we will work on both sides of the puck. We will have to play with detail, and that is the foundation to success. That was his quote.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, the one thing I did like is that, like, nothing was exposing. Does that make sense? Like, they didn't show their hand. Like, nothing. I didn't walk away from that press conference thinking, ooh, I don't know if he's going to have the locker room. Ooh, I don't know if the veterans are going to listen. Oh, I don't know if he can develop the young guys. I literally feel like what Dubas said in his press release, as well as in his opening statement, talking about he feels that Dan can help develop the young guys, the veterans, and everyone in between, just by the way that he spoke. And it's like, wow, I get why there were a lot of people coming out after the announcement was made, backing Dan Muse, saying, this guy, he's an up and coming guy. He's like, don't worry about his inexperience as being an NHL head coach. And
not only that, we mentioned it in our last episode that it's about time. Like, he's been waiting for this opportunity at this level. So a lot of people not only back him, but they also are saying he should have been an NHL head coach by this point. It's about time. So hopefully with the Pittsburgh Penguins, it's the right move. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, absolutely. No, I'm good. Were there any other quotes that you wanted to go over that he...
Not really quotes about the philosophy. I mean, he did say his job coming in here is going to be to maximize what each player can be right now. It's a day-by-day approach. For us to put a time frame on it, it's going to be about putting in the work, attacking and starting on day one of training camp. So if you're a little worried about, is this a rebuild? Is this a whole entire thing? It sounds like from Kyle Dubas' opening remarks and what he just said, they are going to put in work to try to make a push for the playoffs. Now, is it a full-on push? Is it Mitch Marner is it all this? We don't know yet. Like he even admitted, we don't have a full roster yet. We don't know who's going to be playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins in October. So we have to take one thing at a time, one day at a time here. And even he is aware of that. I'm interested to see who Dan Muse is going to bring in as assistant coaches. As of right now, the only coaches on staff, is video coach. Oh, goodness, I just lost the names. It was Madison. But the video coach, Madison Nickel, however you want to pronounce it, he will be returning. So he was a great video coach. Mike Sullivan used him heavily. And I guarantee you that there was probably some poaching trying to get trying to get Madison by Mike Sullivan to come to the Rangers, because everyone who was on the Penguins, Ty Hennis, the David Quinn, he brought them over to New York after Mike Sullivan signed with the Rangers. So I am surprised Madison is still here. That is great to see. Madison will stay on. And for the future of the goaltending coach, Andy Chiodo, which is my favorite hockey player of all time, as of right now, it is up in the air. So when people ask the question, is Madison returning? Is Andy Chiodo returning? Kyle Dubas only spoke for one, which was Madison Nickel. So he is returning, which is great. That's great news for us. That means we're going to continue to win, coaching challenges. We're going to be undefeated there, which is great. That's a nice little thing to have in your pocket going into a new coaching system is, hey, if I ever get something wrong, at least I know I have this guy watching out, kind of making sure everything is going to be good. So Madison Nickel comes back. Andy Chiodo's future is still in the air. As of right now, there are no assistant coaches announced. We just have Dan Muse, and I guarantee you that is what he is doing right now. Yes, is he working on getting the right system in place? Yes, but what first comes is who's going to be the power play unit coach, who's going to be the special, the penalty kill, who is going to take on those responsibilities. I'm excited to see who Dan Muse picks, or is it even up to Dan Muse? Is it going to be kind of a collaboration with Kyle Dubas? Because as we mentioned prior, Kyle Dubas, this is his very first head coach hire by himself. Okay? He is the Pahogam, which means he's the president of hockey operations and general manager. And this is the first time he is selected a head coach. Will he have his hand in selecting assistant coaches, or will he hand over the reins, similar to Mike Sullivan, to hire their own coaches? Time will tell, Josh.
Yeah, and I thought Dubas elaborated on that a little bit in terms of selecting Dan Muse, because someone had asked Kyle, like, what was it about Dan? There was no connection. Like, was there a list that you had that you wanted to go off of? And he kind of alluded to the fact that he could have easily went into his contacts and, reached out to someone that he has previously worked with in the past and brought them over. Mm-hmm. But he felt like the team in this period, he kept saying, did he say transition period? I think he kept saying transition period. During this transition period, the team wanted a new face. So someone new, someone that he hasn't worked with before. Mm-hmm. And he said he felt like it went well with the first conversation that he had with Dan. So that's why he went forward with him. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to want to scratch that itch of, hey, I didn't select you. I selected you that I didn't work with. Let me select, the assistant coaches, people I know, or if he's going to fully say, all right, this is your coaching staff. Like, you select it. I'll get final say because he's Pahogam, but you get to go do the interviewing process. Yeah,
I feel like at this time,
I feel like that's
would that make sense? Because Kyle has to go out and figure out who's going to be playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
At this point,
Dan Muse,
he's in the execution period.
That correct. So is Dan just focusing on coaching, or does Kyle Dubas really want his hand on this team? He wants his hand on the pulse. He wants to make sure who's coming in, who are they, so I can figure out who I could bring in that would better serve them. We will see. No announcements were made. No announcements were made whatsoever, besides Madison Nickel being come back, which is great. Which I thought it was a woman at first, but Madison, he said it was a he. He said I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting first name. I literally was watching. I was like, I didn't know that was a man.
Which now I'm kind of angry because
you wanted it to be a woman.
No, this entire time. Not that I don't want a woman behind the bench. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Joshua, what are you saying? Are you saying that a woman gets okay?
I'm moving on. That stat of being undefeated with coaches' challenges,
right,
have been strictly a Mike Sullivan stat. That's not fair to Madison. That should be a Pittsburgh Penguin stat.
I agree with you.
So now, like, here's
or
my
it should
question.
just be a Madison stat.
Fair enough. Absolutely. That's even more fair. So now when Dan challenges, would that be his first challenge?
Yeah. Well, here's why. Here's why it's Sullivan's record. Here's why it's going to be Dan's record, because he makes the final call. So Madison will probably communicate to Dan saying, hey, it looks suspect. Yeah. Hey, it looks a little sus. I think it's offsides. I think no goal. Should we challenge it? Dan has the final call. Dan will say, yeah, yes or no. So that is why, Madison's doing all the work. Okay? But it's up to Dan Muse to call the ref over and say, I would like to challenge this. It's my call. Because there are times when, I mean, we've all seen it during the season where you're like, that's clearly offsides. Why didn't they challenge it? You know, that's clearly crossed the goal line. Why didn't they challenge it? And the play just continues. It's because the coach didn't want to challenge it. That's all. Yeah. It's not because it's ridiculous, unless Toronto then steps in and changes things. But usually what you'll see is like, hey, or for prime example, the Stanley Cup finals are happening. I believe it was game 2 where there was a penalty. It was
interference.
Goalie interference. Yeah, it was goalie interference, and then they called a no goal or whatever. I don't know what the situation was. Now my train of thought went away. But all I know is that there was goaltender interference, and Paul Maurice was looking at the little video board, and I was like, "What are you talking about? That's not goaltender interference." You know, try to figure something out. And play just continued. I think it was a goal. I think something happened and it was a goal. And Paul Maurice was just looking. And I was like, this is a challengeable thing. You should definitely challenge this. And then the play just went on. It's up to the head coach to make the challenge. Now everyone is in the chat. It's like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Look, we're loosely watching the Stanley Cup. Okay, the Penguins aren't in it. So everyone relax. But all that to be said, it's up to the coach. So not only is the challenge up to the coach, it's who he's going to put alongside of him to coach this team.
That's fair.
There's a lot of rumors going around that Crosby is not happy, but as we all know, you can't listen to those rumors because Sidney Crosby keeps a close circle, has a close circle. I doubt that his feelings one way or the other are out there and people know about it. So whether he could be extremely happy, he could be extremely mad. I don't think we will actually know how he feels. I guarantee you he knows that he wants to win a Stanley Cup. That's what I know. That's what Josh knows. That's what the entire world knows. Sidney Crosby wants to win a Stanley Cup. Did Dan Muse being brought in to help push towards that goal? And we will find out. It's interesting times here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Josh. Interesting times. You're gonna say no? Here's the only thing.
Here's my reason. I'll give my reason and then I'll let you go. So my reason for no to that question is because someone did kind of ask him, saying that Dubas had mentioned about getting the Penguins back to contention as quickly as possible. It was kind of a layup question where he could have easily just said, if you didn't want to say, we're going to get back to contention this year, you could have easily just said, my goal is to win. Like, yeah. My goal is to coach this team to win.
Correct.
But he didn't. He kind of leaned on the development side.
In the transition period.
In the transition period.
Yeah.
100%. And the growth and the collaboration. And I'm like, just say you want to win, dude. Just say you want to win. It's like, and he didn't, and that's where I'm kind of like, okay, like we're gonna
see. I interpreted it the other way. I interpret it the other way. And because Kyle Dubas kept on saying the word success. And so did, Dan Muse at points. Success can mean two things. Success could just be a successful season where we're winning, but, as we all know, we're not going to make the playoffs, but it's not embarrassing. So maybe that's success.
It looks good on the ice.
It looks good on the ice. We have a good team. We just need a few other key players, and then we'll make a push. Or does success mean make the playoffs? And as we know, and what we love about the NHL, is that if you make the playoffs, anything can happen. Is that a successful season? Is just making the playoffs, or hitting the wild card, or getting a number one draft pick? Is that a success? We don't know. We will find out. Because I don't know one GM that will sit in front of a group of journalists to say, getting the number one draft pick, that was success. That was unless we land McKenna, and then everyone is like, we told you this was going to happen, which I doubt.
Which there's a hang up with him, apparently.
Well, I think he's going to Penn State or something.
Yeah, which would, I don't know. I don't know all the details, but someone was saying that if he commits and goes to Penn State, then that delays his draft year.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's where I was like, I don't know enough, but I was like, I brought it up, but I didn't want to bring it up because I was like, I don't know enough.
We don't know enough. And listen, that's a theme going forward, is that we're not going to know everything, and we're just talking about it. That's the whole point. So there are some things of Dan Muse we don't know anything about, and that's okay. We're learning with you. And we want to see the Penguins win. Hopefully, Dan Muse is a guy to do it. I'm excited. Dan sounds like a great guy. He seems like a good guy. He's very personable. He wants to be a personable coach. So let's hope that is what the Penguins need right now to help win. And Kyle Dubas is working on getting other guys to help the defense, help the offense, both sides of the puck, Dan Muse says. So if Dan Muse is saying that, that's what Kyle Dubas is saying behind closed doors. So Collaboration, Josh. Process. Transition period. All the buzzwords. So we will see. But guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for joining us during this time. Stay tuned this summer for more content. Follow us wherever you follow anything at Pens Collective. We have a Discord channel. All our links are in the bio. Josh, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Dan.
Welcome to Pittsburgh, Dan. Let's go, Penguins. Josh, I kind of took the thunder away from you, right? As I said that. I did that. Let's try that again. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Dan. Josh, as always.
Let's go, Penn.
It's Crosby. Crosby on Kunitz and shot. Penguins win it!
Buckle up, baby. Are you kidding me?
We're a collective.